secondaries in Roblox Rivals, some worse or better than others. And today I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list from F to S tier. And of course, before we get started with today's video, I'm giving away an energy gun bundle, a classic bundle, and a heavy duty bundle for 80,000 subscribers. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is like, subscribe, watch to the end of the video, and comment which one of the three you want. Now let's get started with this tier list. These are the F tier weapons, the secondaries that make you want to point the barrel of the gun at yourself instead of someone else. There are many better secondaries out there, and using these secondaries make you want to literally die when you pick it up. And of course, at the very bottom of this tier list, we have the daggers. These have become so trash in this game. Like, I swear these are probably the worst gun in the entire game. No lie. Each dagger does 15 damage, which is, you know, basically nothing at all. You'd throw a rock at them and do more damage, but the double jump is nice. But what makes this even worse is that these are a projectile, which means that they don't even go where you aim. You have to aim kind of like ahead of them, which works, you know, kind of like the bow, for example. So not only are you doing 15 damage per dagger, but at the same time, you have a really hard time hitting these guys, even if you're good at aiming, because they're a projectile, you know? And you have to hit them like several times in a row to make these things work. And when the enemy is moving and you just can't hit them because you have to aim so far ahead of them, it's just not worth using these at all. In fact, I just don't think these are very good. There's a lot of people that agree that these are, you know, some of the worst guns in the entire game, or this specifically is one of the worst guns in the entire game, but it's just absolutely atrocious to use. They look cool. The movement is really nice with them, but aside from that, these do no damage. They're hard to use, and I just don't see how this could literally place any higher than F tier. And they used to be so good too at one point, but then they got nerfed. Like when they first came out, they actually weren't that bad at all. In fact, I thought they were a pretty decent secondary at the time, but now they just plain suck, and there's just no sense in using them at all. So yeah, the daggers, very poop. I do not like these at all. Again, like I said, great for movement, but I just can't see myself doing any sort of decent damage with these. And that just, if they don't do damage, they can't place high in the list. I'm sorry. These are the D tier weapons, a little better than F tier weapons, but you'd still be better off slinging a pile of poop at the enemy instead. If you use these, I want to be disappointed, but at the same time, I'm kind of more impressed you can make it work. This is the D tier. And in the D tier, we have the shorty. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that are mad that the shorty's placing so low, because there are a lot of people that actually do genuinely enjoy the shorty. And if you do, then good for you. I mean, I'm glad you can enjoy this gun, but I just don't. The thing is, you have to be extremely, oh my god, my voice. You have to be extremely close to the enemy for this to do any decent damage at all. And then some people argue like, oh, just use the freeze ray. Well, you know what? I'd rather use like a different utility than the freeze ray, okay? You know? Like, I'd rather use like the trip mine or the grenade instead of the freeze ray, right? And then there's a lot of times that you just freeze the enemy and then they immediately break out of it and they move away from you to the point where you can't two-tap them to the head. Because when you're close enough and you hit all pellets to the head, this thing can be an instant two-tap. And that's the thing that a lot of people like about this. They think that if you can two-tap the enemy and it instantly kills them, that has to make this good, right? Well, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. See, look, that's 37 damage right there. I was very close to that guy and I still didn't do any decent damage. See, like this guy, boom, I was right in his face. I killed him. That's good. But this guy right here, I'm gonna say, actually, I'm not gonna say anything because I'm dead. You say this guy, I'm gonna get a little close to him, and that's 11 damage. This guy right here, boom, 50 damage. It's just not a reliable secondary at all. You're either going to like completely destroy the enemy, or more oftentimes than not, you're gonna do 15 damage like I just did right there. It's very inconsistent and it's not worth using in my opinion. These are the C tier weapons, the middle of the road. These weapons aren't great, but not terrible either. You might even find yourself forgetting about these guns. Don't worry, you don't have early onset dementia. These guns are just so average that they blink away from your mind, like a childhood pet your parents sent to live on a farm. This is the C tier. First up in the C tier, we have the handgun. This is literally one of the most middle-of-the-road secondaries in the entire game. While I would have placed this in, like, say, D tier earlier, this actually got a kind of buff recently. I don't exactly remember what they did to it. I think they made the draw faster, which is nice. But at the same time, it has a somewhat hefty damage drop-off. Now, if you are close to the enemy, the damage does hit pretty hard. But even if you get, like, more than 10 feet away from the enemy, it just doesn't do all that much damage. Now, it is a solid secondary, but there's There's just so many better options out there that I couldn't place this thing any higher than C tier. I know a lot of people like this because it's in the default loadout, and while it does do somewhat okay in fights, it's just harder to use at long range maps, especially on crossroads like I'm on right now. Actually, I think this is big crossroads, which makes it even worse. Yeah, it does like 10 damage per hit, like at long range. So you'd have to dump their entire magazine on them for this thing to kill them. So that's like 15 shots in a row, which that's hard to do, even for someone with really great tracking and really great aim. But hey, like I said, if you're close to them, it's really not all that bad of a secondary. Like this guy right here, I can kind of destroy him. Wait, or maybe not. Yep, wait. Yep, there we go. It's not the worst, it's not the best. It's C tier because it's average. Next up in the C tier, we have the flare gun. Their flare gun, it's again like the handgun, it's either extremely good or extremely bad. This can be really, really good on close range maps like Arena, for example, but on maps like this is Splash. People can avoid the flare super easily. It's good for, like, say splash damage. You can hurt multiple people at the same time. Like, say if you're playing like 2v2s or 3v3s, you can fire a flare at them and just kill multiple people at the same time. But it's not good for actually killing people, right? It's good for damaging them and weakening them over, you know, like a set period of time, you know, for as long as they're on fire. But it's weird compared to other secondaries. Like, I want my secondary to fire bullets, not fire. Like, is that a weird thing to say? Like, I want my gun to actually fire bullets, right? So this is essentially like, you know, it's like a Molotov in your pocket. It's like a Molotov, and it's also like the flare gun in a way, except not really. See, look, I'll show how much damage this does. This person's gonna, oh no, that guy just ruined my video. I hope you have a very bad day for the rest of your life. I'm kidding, I don't. And then you only get 2 flares with this thing, so you get 2 shots, and that, you know, it's just not enough at times. It's a very weird secondary. It's like a niche secondary, right? It has its specific use cases, but then at other times you're just better off using something else. Wait, finally a tier with more than one gun? I guess this just shows how badly they need to add some more guns to the game. Please, Nosny. These are the B tier weapons. Finally, some decent guns. These guns don't immediately make you regret your life when you pick them up, but you still feel like you could have a little bit more. You feel like your side gun could still use a little more punch, but sometimes these guns will still do the trick. This is the B tier. Coming up first in the B tier, we have the spray. The spray, I feel like it's really good. Again, it has its special use cases, like against not exo guns. That's coming up. But it's good against katanas and riot shields. That's what I was trying to say. Now, you could interchangeably use the spray or the exo gun. They both have the same counter to those 2 melees. I guess which one you prefer kind of just depends on your playstyle. If you're on like console or mobile, then the exo gun's definitely better. But if you have like really good aim and you're on PC, the spray's definitely the way to go. You get 30 rounds in a magazine, you get plenty of reserve ammo. It is 3-round burst, but that doesn't really matter all that much. I don't find that to be a bit of a problem at all. The fire rate is plenty fast enough for the burst to not even matter all that much. And that's one of the things I do like about the spray. It's a very reliable secondary. It feels like a primary in some ways, but it doesn't quite have primary damage. And that's the one thing that a lot of people don't like about the spray, is that the damage is kind of weak. Like, I'd say it does similar damage to the handgun, but you have a 3-round burst. So every time you click, that's 3 bullets that fire, pretty much. So in that way, it's, you know, it's kind of like the burst rifle, for example. In fact, I think this thing actually technically does less damage than the handgun. It does like 8 damage to the body instead of 10 at long range, and that's something that a lot of people don't like. But to be honest, the exo gun, you know, the gun that I said you could interchangeably use, it doesn't have very good damage either. Yeah, coming up next, we have the exo gun. Like I said, you can pretty much interchangeably use these 2 guns. The thing that the exo gun has that the spray doesn't is that the exo gun actually has splash damage. You don't have to directly hit the other person to be able to do damage. It helps if you do. Like, if you click on their head, you can do more damage. The main problem with the exo gun is that even with an entire magazine, you get 6 rounds in a magazine. That's not enough to kill the other person, even if you hit all headshots. And I find that to be super, super annoying. Every time I'm using this thing, I have to reload to be able to kill the other guy. This is a paid weapon. It is a prime weapon. So a lot of people that buy this thing are probably kind of disappointed that, like, hey, this thing needs to do more damage. But I think it's okay. I don't think this is the best secondary in the world. It used to be way, way better. Like, I remember this thing used to do pretty decent damage, but they nerfed it at one point, and now it's just not as good. I know there's some people that want this thing to get buffed. Like in the Nosny Games Discord server, people in the suggestion suggestions tab want this to be buffed, which is understandable because it's not the best. But it is good for, you know, using against the spraying katana, and it's good for fighting multiple people at once because it has splash damage, and that's one thing that I really do like about this thing. But I just feel like it's a little too weak to rank any higher. Finally, some actually good weapons. These are the A tier weapons, the weapons that feel good when you pick them up and use them. You can get some clutch moments with these, but they aren't quite top tier exactly. These are the A tier weapons. First up in the A tier, we have the Uzi. This is personally the first gun I ever bought in Rivals, I think. It's an automatic secondary. You get 24 rounds in a magazine. It's very reliable. This pairs very good with semi-automatic guns like the sniper, for example, or even the assault rifle, so you can switch and keep spraying the enemy if you run out of ammo. The damage isn't the best like pretty much every secondary in the game, but like I said, it's automatic. It's very fun to use. It's very satisfying. It does its job. I mean, I don't really have too much to say about this. It's not the most crazy secondary in the world, but it's very enjoyable to use, and it has a decent amount of reserve ammo. You get a couple reloads with this, and you can actually kill somebody with one magazine, which is yay. It's not like the exo gun to where like you have to reload 10 times to kill somebody. Yeah, the Uzi is very fun. I also like this skin a lot. This is the Electro Uzi skin, I think it's called. I think I remember opening this in a skin crate, and it's very satisfying. I like it a lot. Next up, we have the slingshot, which I kind of missed the old slingshot. This thing would have easily been top tier. This would have been top of S tier like several months ago, but they did nerf the hitbox on it, so it's a little harder to hit the enemy. They did bring back the critical hit though. I remember for a while it didn't do headshot damage, or you could hit them in the head, but it didn't have a multiplier to it. But you don't get very many balls with this thing, so a lot of times I find myself running out of ammo, but it is fun to like shoot at a wall and still be able to hit somebody, because you know it bounces off the wall and it hits, you know, it hits people. And that's the good thing that I do like about this slingshot. I just feel like they nerfed it so hard that like it can't be S tier anymore. It can't be S tier, but it is still very good. It's still very reliable. I find myself using it pretty often, especially on arena or back rooms. Those are the two maps that this works really well on. And of course it's kind of, you know, it's kind of automatic. You can just hold down your left click button and then just fire as much as you want, and that works really well. I still feel like there are two better options out there. One of them's probably a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I'll get to that here in a second. Now we're at the peak of secondaries. These are the secondaries you could almost use as your primary gun. These are the guns you find yourself picking up time and time again and never having a dull moment with them. These are the S tier weapons. Here's the controversial one, energy pistols. I think these are one of the best secondaries in the entire game by far. They're basically just the Uzi on steroids, and it's also kind of like a minigun but secondary. The movement is really good with this thing. It's nice and fast. You don't get double jump like you do with the daggers, but you run really fast with this thing and you can jump fast with this thing. And then at the same time, you can just shoot as much as you want because it literally has unlimited ammo. So you'll never run out of ammo. You'll never have to reload. You could just hold left click and just shoot them as much as possible, which leads to a lot of funny moments of people just calling you pay to win, like what just happened right now. He said, holy pay to win. And it's just so funny seeing people rage over this thing. So you can just absolutely like beam people. Like it's just out of this world good, you know what I mean? And then you have some good skins for this thing too. I know that doesn't matter to a lot of people, which I don't have. I have a skin for this, but I don't have it equipped right now. I need to go back and do that. I think I took it off for a thumbnail or something, but this is part of the energy bundle, and this is pretty much the only reason people buy the energy bundle, because the energy gun's not good at all. But I think for how good these things are, that makes the energy bundle all the more worth it in my opinion. Like I said, the damage isn't great. You can literally do 2 damage like at long range, but it fires so fast that the low damage isn't even really that noticeable. Like I said, unlimited ammo, fires super fast. Despite the damage being low, it's not a problem really. But yeah, I love these things. Let me know what you think of them in the comments, but let's move on to the next gun. And then finally, the best gun in the game is, of course, the revolver. A lot of people would see this coming. It does super good damage. Like, it's like 40 headshot. You get 6 bullets, and it's a very good companion. It's basically a handgun, but like way better. I personally find myself using the energy pistols more, but I like the revolver from time to time. It also has fan fire, which you can like fire super fast with it. It's a very enjoyable secondary. I like it a lot. It's super reliable, and it's like the ultimate cowboy gun, bro. Like, I feel like Arthur Morgan when I use this thing. You kill that guy, boom. Yeah, I like the revolver. It has 6 rounds, of course, because it's a 6-shooter. You get plenty of reserve ammo. I never find myself running out of ammo with this thing. And it's also really good if you have like auto shoot, because it's semi-automatic, so it just makes it a little bit easier, I guess. But yeah, revolver, very, very good gun. Let me know your list in the comments below and subscribe for more Rivals videos just like this.